Merry Christmas! Happy Hanukkah! Welcome to the Scoop World Order special Christmas show. Again, we know a lot of you guys are probably still hanging out with your families, but some of you guys are out kicking it, probably on your way home. So I figured we might as well knock a show out tonight. The NFL game is bad, so we're going to get into the 5 reasons Ohio State is going to dominate Oregon in the Rose Bowl. So Nevada and I are going to throw that back and forth. But again, we appreciate you guys so very much. Again, all that you guys do for this program and for Buckeye Nation. Again, this has been an incredible run for us. Nevadabuck and I are so gracious and thankful for all that you guys have done to help support this channel, grow this channel. Just watching the videos is a ton, liking the videos. It's all great. So again, as I always give my spiel, if you guys want to help us out, you could leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. If you do something extra special for Christmas, give us a follow on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We're trying to grow our 2 non-video podcasts, our 2 biggest ones, as much as we can, and we appreciate a lot of you guys have done that. So thank you. If you guys haven't done that, please do that because it's a huge help. It's completely free. But again, Merry Christmas to you guys. Happy Hanukkah. Again, this is going to be a huge show because you guys make it one. We're going to bring in my good friend Nevada. Nevada, Merry Christmas. Any standout gifts this year for you for Christmas, and how's your day been?
My day has been terrific. It's Christmas Day, which is one of my favorites. It used to be a great NBA day, and now they seem like they've kind of ceded that to these games on Netflix, which is kind of weird, especially considering the fact
Yeah.
that Netflix doesn't seem to be able to handle the traffic, so the site keeps crashing and things keep going wrong on that. But no, it was. I love Christmas. I love everything about it. Obviously, lots of Ohio State themed Christmas presents under the Nevadabuck tree this year. So, but I think Ohio State gave me the best gift of all by beating Tennessee in that first home playoff game, so that we get more football and we get to see the Buckeyes in Pasadena coming up here against. And if you have not been to the Rose Bowl, said it before, I'm going to say it again. Make the trip. It's worth it. Not because it's such an amazing venue, or not because it's so easy to get in and out of, or not because they've the Jerry train that goes the length of the field and you can watch. But it just drips history. And when you go there, it's a very, very special place to watch a football game. And like I said, if you get a chance, somebody offers you a ticket, take them up on it because it's going to be a spectacular night for the Buckeyes in Pasadena.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something we talk about. It's pretty easy to podcast for the next 6 days because lead up to this game is going to be a big one. I'm super excited about it. I want to read a quick note I got. So this is something you talk about, like great Christmas gifts, and I got an electric toothbrush this year, so I got a one for. I had replaced my old one was a good one, but this is like the best one you can get, so I can keep the chompers clean for you guys, so that you guys don't look at some white teeth. But we got a really nice note, and this is from Dean Jock. So bear with me as I read through this. But it says, "Hello, Kirk in Nevada. I hope you are enjoying this holiday season. We'll have a very special and Merry Christmas. As noted in an earlier email, I saw Kirk displaying some challenge coins that one of our great friends sent him and wanted to send you a couple as well. Please find enclosed 2 challenge coins." So I will put these in front of the camera. See, they're probably not going to be super high def, but you guys can kind of get a little look at it. From my time in Iraq as the Marine Corps' intelligence activities liaison to the U.S. Multinational Forces, Iraq, West Fallujah, Iraq. The other is from U.S. Marine Detachment at the U.S. Embassy in Morocco, where I visited for some work. And finally, I have a patch from the Counter Drug Joint Task Force for Key West, later called Joint. That's what this patch is right here. So I'll put this up on the camera. And I was a National Reconnaissance Officer, Liaisons Operations Officer, supporting all U.S. counter-drug operations in the Caribbean and South America. Sharing challenge coins is a long-time military tradition, and I would like you all to have these 2 coins and the patch as a sign of my respect to you for what you do for our military and first responders. If either of you are ever in Virginia, he offers us a very nice excursion if we go out there and work out with them and go drink wine and play golf. So excellent. And then he ends it with, "Anyways, thanks for everything you do. Not just the outstanding fan experience you provide, but the respect and love you give to our military and first responders. As far as I can tell, you're the only college-based fan experience that does this. So thank you. Merry Christmas, and please have a great start to New Year. Semper Fi, Dean B. Jock III." So again, like I get all kinds of stuff and cool stuff and notes and texts and whatever, but that's one of the coolest things I've ever gotten. So again, I appreciate you guys. And again, Christmas is obviously a special time, but there's a lot of people that are working, people in hospitals, our first responders, our police officers, obviously people that are deployed. So they are always at the forefront for us at Buckeye Scoop between Nevadabuck and I. So again, I appreciate you guys that are working, keeping us safe. Even the people in the service industry and hospitality that are working right now away from their families, we appreciate you guys so much. So, but again, I had to read that note because I opened up that package today, literally because I had some mail and Kim gave it to me, and it was incredible, touching, amazing. So thank you so much for that. Nevada, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's the best part of my day is dealing with our pay it forward customers, our first responders, our military, and yeah, especially on a day like today, because when you're in the military and you're deployed, no days off, and you don't, I can remember growing up, you know, holidays and birthdays and where my dad wasn't there, and just because he was gone, and you just waited for the time until he got back, but it wasn't like they were there all the time, and I just have a lot of empathy for people that do that, and we just appreciate being a small little distraction during a difficult period. So thanks so much for that note. That really meant a lot to us.
Yeah, it's amazing. And again, we love the reach, and we love being very proud of our police, our law enforcement that are all patrolling the streets on Christmas away from their families. Again, we think a lot of, again, I have Columbus, I have people from all branches of the police departments all over the country that watch Buckeye Scoop, listen to Buckeye Scoop, reach out to me, text me. I'm not hard to find. You guys can email me or give you my number. But I appreciate you guys. Again, you guys are what keeps us safe. And again, I don't take that for granted. Neither does Nevada, neither does Buckeye Scoop. So we appreciate you guys. With that being said, Nevada, the 5 reasons why Ohio State is going to smash Oregon. I will let you go first this time. I went first for Tennessee. I think we could alternate. Hopefully there's 2 more games after this one. What is reason number 5 as to why Ohio State will smash the Oregon Ducks in the Rose Bowl?
I'm going to go with Will Howard. I've spent a good, Christmas for the Nevadabuck family it reached its peak at about 10:30 in the morning this morning. Maybe kind of started to peter out by like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I had a little bit of time, went back and watched the Oregon Penn State Big Ten championship game, which were Oregon. That's their last game. That's their last data point. And I just watched Drew Aller and the Penn State rushing attack just move the ball up and down the field, like, to 8.7 yards per carry, 200-yard rushers, but Aller was killing them on the zone read stuff. And Will Howard, slight equipment change that he made last game, and I don't know if, to my eye, it was funny. It was noticeable how more athletic he looked and how more fluid he looked out there on the field. And I just think that Will Howard's running, obviously Will Howard's throwing, but specifically Will Howard's running, his ability to run the RPOs, make those good judgments, make those good split-second decisions, and threaten them with running the ball on the ground is going to be a huge thing. It's going to be a huge problem for an Oregon defense that has really struggled this year whenever they played anybody good offensive. Whenever they played Boise State, they played us, they played Penn State, and all 3 of those teams really had their way with them, specifically on the ground. And it hasn't improved. It's not like they've gotten better about that. And I think Oregon's really going to have a problem stopping us on the ground. But I think the key to that's going to be Will Howard. Will Howard's running, and that's reason number 5 why Ohio State rolls, covers the spread, and moves on in the college football playoff.
Yeah, and I'm going to click into the little film room real quick because you saw it right off the rip, man. Chip Kelly, he had it dialed up first. Our first opportunity in the red zone. I think this is the best red zone play that we can possibly run. It's basically what you call duo. It's just man blocking. There's no puller. But something that we do that's very unique versus this front. It's all down blocks here. Will fakes the read option, and it inserts Quinshawn as your lead blocker. So he comes through here. But another unique facet is this is a tight end. This is 85 Bennett Christian. He acts as a pulling guard and kicks up in here. So you have too many bodies essentially when you draw a play like this. So you watch it in action, And you've got a motion guy because again, they're man coverage across the board, so he's not going to be a factor when he doesn't have eyes on the run. He's trying to keep up with him in man coverage, so you bring him out as a last kick out guy, and you watch how this fits up. And there's just not enough guys, because again, when you do this, and this is why I watch Chip Kelly film, and it's the greatest thing in the history of mankind, because I watch this, so I was like, I just don't know how you defend this. I really don't. This guy is in a conflict where he's going to be worried for a flare route out here, but he has no eyes on who's getting the ball here. And so just watch him. Keep your eyes on him. He has no idea where the ball is. Again, he's got to avoid the linebacker safety. I don't know if this is a safety linebacker. Jump around him. So he's completely out of it. And the guy that he's with is kicking the edge. So again, I don't know how you stop this, especially when Will keeps this. I mean, there's literally a hat for everybody except for this far corner. Now, again, by some luck, if he can make that play when this thing's going right up the A gap, God bless him. But I mean, and Will's already 6'5", 240, hits the silencer here, LeBron. But again, I think that Will Howard is going to have a dominating performance. Again, I thought that we had him schemed up excellent in the game. I think that there's a complete lack of physicality when it comes to Oregon's defense. And I'm not saying that because, whatever, but go watch Boise State. I mean, Boise State had these guys whipped with Ashton Genty, but they gave up a punt return and a kickoff return for a touchdown. So again, they had a lot of breaks happen when we played them. Obviously, losing Josh Simmons was a tremendous blow. Losing your starting All-American left tackle, a first-round pick in game. You have to put Zen out there, and Zen actually did great. Hung in there really well. Obviously the JJ Smith OPI. Obviously, that's not getting that second with Howard. There's just so many breaks, and they still only won by one in their biggest game in the history of their school. So, I think Will Howard is going to be a sledgehammer. And he's going to be it's like in the gladiator arenas where they open up the door and the lion comes running out to eat the humans. Like, that's what Will Howard is going to look like. I mean, he's going to be, you never get a second opportunity in life in college football to play a team that beats you earlier, maybe embarrass you earlier, whatever. A game that sticks in your craw. Will Howard has the ultimate opportunity because, again, there is a dumb portion of the fan base that blamed Will Howard for losing that game because he did have clock awareness. He slid too late, whatever. But now he gets to play, and it's all both sides are all in. It's the poker game where both sides are all in. The Texas Hold'em, they're all in, and only one gets the chips. So whoever wins this one, that's all that matters. And Will Howard has got a giant eraser in his hand where he can erase all memory of the previous game. So super excited about it. For me, reason number 4, the easiest one of all time, Jeremiah Smith. We got JJ, and it's just so interesting how they've made a conceited effort to get him involved running drive routes, drive concepts, attacking the middle of the field, getting him some easy pitches and catches early, running crossing routes. I mean, they figured out that he's literally like tackling a Clydesdale for these guys in the secondary. And so if you just get it to him, they're not going to be real ambitious about trying to tackle him. So I think JJ gets peppered. I think he has a Jackson Smith and Jigba type of game where, the 300 yards, 250 yards, because he's going to be on that kind of a tear. I think that just getting him touches that are easy for him to get to, not the deep strikes, not the stuff, it's much easier to break coverage on the crossing routes than, if you try to throw it deep and they're double teaming and leaving out, 2 high safeties. So they're going to move him. They're going to get him the ball, and he's going to be an absolute force of nature like he was versus Tennessee. Again, there was always this myth about the Big Ten's slow and the SEC's fast. And I was like, well, I thought we looked pretty fast against those guys. Again, that's always been a myth. Like when we had Ted Ginn, like there wasn't anybody in Florida had those faster than Ted Ginn. He just got his leg broke in the first place, so it didn't matter. So with JJ, feed the beast. He is the gift. He's the greatest Christmas gift that we can ever have. Is the fact that we get him for 2 more years here. So JJ is reason number 4 why Ohio State will dominate the Oregon Ducks in the Rose Bowl. Nevada, reason number 3.
I'm going to go with Travion and Quinshon. Quinshon, I don't know if people realize, Quinshon's been dealing with a little bit of an injury here these last 5 games, and I don't think he's been himself. And I think he's just rounding into form right now. And obviously Trey, as we're all aware, is obviously taking it up another level. And with the difficulty with Penn State has dealt with against the run, we referenced the Boise State game on the ground. Penn State having 200-yard rushers. When you combined a diversified attack with a legitimate running threat at quarterback, run pass threat at quarterback, and then you add two elite running backs. I mean, for Trayvon's career at Ohio State, one of the big, we've always talked about the best ability is availability. And, he had some injury issues. He'd had some fatigue issues or worn down, whatever you want to call it. And this year they bring in Quinshawn, and all of a sudden Trayvon is as fresh in game 14 as he was in game 1. I don't think that's a coincidence. And I think that's really bad news for Oregon, because, I mean, he's a legitimate game break. He's a guy that can legitimately take it to the house anytime he gets the ball. And given the fact that they've struggled against the run, and now they're coming up against two monster running backs. You mentioned in item number 4, the problems with guarding JJ, and I throw a Mecca and Carnell Tate and everything else in there, but I think you've got to pick your poison, and I think Oregon's clearly going to lean towards the side of they're going to have to bracket cover JJ Smith. They're going to have to take away the deep shot, the easy touchdowns, and that means you're dealing with a running game, spearheaded by, I think it's the two best running back, the two best running backs in college football, and TreVeyon Henderson and Quinshawn, a healthy Quinshawn, I might add. And so that's my reason number 3 why Ohio State rolls in the Rose Bowls, the two-headed running back tandem of Trey and Q.
Yeah, all right. So I'm going to get into another play with your boy Trey. And again, this is the JJ. You got Optimus Prime down here, manned up. And what does JJ draw? 2 high safeties. So when you have 2 high safeties, we got a 6-man box out here because they're terrified. Guess what? We have 6 blockers. So guess what? One of these guys has to fit. And if they don't fit right, it's not going to be pretty. So what happens? The safety doesn't fit right. Look where he's at. He's in no man's land. You got JJ out here, Godzilla, and safety doesn't fit right. And Trey's, boogieing. Now he gets caught by this guy on like the 2-yard line, but still, that's the JJ effect. If you have that safety, and again, I'll just wind this back real quick. If you have the safety down in the box, where a lot of teams would play if they were more concerned, if JJ wasn't JJ, you'd roll him down here and you'd roll the safety back, and you could run some one and just man these guys across the board. If you didn't have our receivers are terrifying, so you'd never do that unless you want to die. But if you roll him down in the box, it's a lot easier to fit this run because you don't have all this green grass to fit. If you're fitting right here, I mean, it's a pretty simple fit if the safety's already down and he's hitting him right here in the hole. But with JJ, you gotta pick your poison, man. So that's something where like when you're playing Boise, and again, like the thing about these guys is they're so poor against the run. You watch them against Penn State, you watch them against Boise. I mean, Boise, the only guy that you're trying to stop is Gianti, the number 2 guy in the Heisman. The guy that could have won the Heisman by second, whatever, the votes or whatever it was. So I just think that, man, our tailbacks and our running game after this Tennessee game is going to have a lot of confidence. I think that we ran a lot of nice counter schemes that I really liked, a lot of gap schemes that I really liked. But with these guys, we hit a lot of zone. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see kind of the mix of it. I think that obviously Will being a running threat is always terrifying for these guys. And like I said, these guys had everything go right. Like Quinshawn gave the ball to Harmon, their 90 or 55, their D tackle. Basically gave him a touchdown. But our defense repelled him out of the end zone. We had a shot to win at the end, and I don't think we're going to miss this time. So I'm going to get into reason number 2, the offensive line. And I got some really funny comments in the YouTube comments last week when we're going to play Tennessee. And, I was the guy that had to make 3. I did 5, 3, and 1. Nevada did 4 and 2, and then we're flipping this week. My number 2 is the offensive line. And again, people laughed me out of the gym for saying that, but I said, Chip Kelly, I think he knows what he has, and I think that he knows, how to utilize it. And they'll have their good defensive end back who didn't play against us, but I just think schematically with what we do, I don't think it'll matter. I mean, obviously we got by with Zen at left tackle. I think Donnie obviously is an upgrade there. I think Luke Montgomery, Tigre is better than he was versus Oregon. Again, as the season has gone on, he's gotten better. No, he's had some bad moments, but you got to remember when you're this deep in the run, you're not. If you're a sophomore, you're now like a junior. If you're a freshman, you're now like a sophomore. Like mentally, like JJ Smith isn't a true freshman anymore. When he's played, 13 games, like you can't say that he's a true freshman anymore. He's now the sophomore mentality. Plus, when you graduate early, it's almost like you're basically a sophomore when you start the year anyway. So the line obviously was fantastic, much more comfortable. And again, I like the edge with Carson, but this is a game where the skill guys will win it. This will be a game where our skill guys are going to dominate their edge guys, our running backs. And I've said it a million times, like in 07 when we weren't very good, Beanie ran for 1,700 yards. Like great running backs can make average to above average offensive lines look amazing. And Trey Henderson is a great running back, and again, I'm right at the top of it. Like when I talk about, like Maurice Claret, that 0-2 line, really good line, won a national title with it, but we didn't have any first rounders out there. We had a bunch of guys that were, kind of late round. Stepanovich went 3rd round, and Adrian Clark, I think, went 7th round, and Shane Olivier went 7th round. And, so it wasn't like we had a bunch of first rounders. We didn't have Corey Stringer in Orlando, but we had Reese. So that made us look really good. So I think that's kind of a similar situation where I think that the talent of Will Howard, the talent of our quarterback being able to run it, Chip Kelly's play calling prowess, and just the revenge factor, I think it's going to really give a nice edge to the offensive line. And they were productive. I mean, again, this was a game where they got that first cannonball shot at the side of the bow where you lose your starting left tackle, who was playing like the best tackle in America. Josh Simmons was fantastic up until he got hurt. Towards Patellar, you could put Zen in. A little bit of a panic moment, but Zen played well enough to hang in there and win. And again, it was, being a guy who wasn't expecting to play much, all of a sudden you're in the biggest game of the year on national TV, night game, whatever. That can be challenging. So again, I think the offensive line is going to step up in a big way. And I'm just really excited to see what these guys can do. Because again, Chip's scheme is fantastic. The play action passing, the 6 and 7 man protections, moving the pocket, getting rid of the ball fast, all of that are huge ways to help the offensive line. And he was doing all of that in spades. Because these guys know, again, it's not a knock on the O-line, but you're down to your 7th and 8th guys in the lineup now. And that's usually terrifying. Usually the offense will look like vomit. And ours is actually getting better, which is a big credit to Chip Kelly and Justin Fry. Nevada, reason number 1.
The reason number 1 is the Ohio State defense. Jim Knowles rarely gets. He's not a. If you guys have noticed about Jim Knowles is a pretty cool customer, and Jim Knowles is. We joke about his tofu eating. He's all ball. You got to have just a wise old Yoda sitting up there in the thing calling defense for the best defense in college football. Frankly, it's been the best defense in college football over the past 2 years. Certainly this year, just historically good in virtually every category. He's fired up for this one. He's fired up for this one at a different level than I've ever seen Jim Knowles in his 3 years here at Ohio State. Because they felt like they were embarrassed at Outson, the whole burnt in Outson. And look, the Oregon offense is legitimately good. We can talk all we want about the defense and the Oregon defense, where they've got holes. The Oregon offense is really freaking good. Dylan Gabriel's a tremendous quarterback, great wide receivers, obviously capable offensive linebacker. Dan Lanning calls a very aggressive game. So they're going to be ready. So it's going to take a really good defensive effort just to get stops, because this is going to be a game all about stops. Can you get more stops against them than they get against you? It's not going to be about, we're not going to stifle the Oregon offense. We're not going to completely shut them down, shut them out, do to them what we did to Nico in Tennessee. It's about, can you get more stops than they can get stops on you? I think we will. And Knowles, those guys have taken the loss so personally. Denzel Burke had probably the worst game, certainly the worst game that I've ever seen him play. Maybe the worst game we've ever seen any cornerback play at Ohio State. Right up there in the annals with some of the other great shellackings that we've seen cornerbacks have. And look, not that people need extra motivation this time of year. You're playing for a national championship. You're playing in the Rose Bowl, but embarrassment, uh, having a chance to erase an embarrassment, because when you beat Oregon on January 1st, everything that happened back in October in Alson is gone. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It'll be lost to the annals of college football history, and only the most ardent Oregon fan will even remember that game when you win this one. And for the defense, they got embarrassed. They've got a lot of pride. Jim Knowles has got a lot of pride. Those players have got a lot of pride. And in a rematch game, I love the Ohio State defense in a game like this, in a situation to right or wrong, to correct things that and obviously there's a lot of mistakes made that first time around. They're bound. They won't correct them all because, like I said, I'm not saying I don't come in and go, Nevada, you said we'd shut them out. They'd never score. They're going to score points. Oregon will score points, but we'll get more stops this time, and that's why we're going to win. Number one reason, OSU defense, revenge factor, chance to right or wrong, and Jim Knowles super fired up about this game. I really, really like what that means.
Yeah, and like when you talk about what's going on with that game will be deleted. I mean, to me, like, yeah, I don't know what Penn State's going to do, but I mean, if you win this thing and you're the king of the hill in the Big Ten, like you get to take. I mean, this is for the strap, so you get the strap out. So when you get the strap, if you beat the team that won the Big Ten, but you beat them in the Rose Bowl and you advance and they go home, to me, you're the Big Ten champions. Again, I don't know what Penn State's going to do. If you got to go see Penn State at the end of the tournament, then let's talk about it. But if they don't make it, if they succumb before then we got to have a talk about who the real Big Ten titles are. And again, I don't think that it matters because, again, we had that incident a few years ago where Alabama beat Georgia in the SEC championship, and then they came back and lost the national championship to Georgia. So it's like, trust me, there's nobody that's more of an expert on what supersedes what than I am. So I'm just so excited for the kids. I'm so excited for these players because just when you think you're dead and everything's gone and you don't get to you don't win All-American, you don't win the Michigan game, you don't get to win the Big Ten, you're the hottest team in college football right now. You have all the edge, all the momentum. I said after the game, and you guys can wind it back to when we were doing that show, it's like, I don't think this game is really going to matter. I think that we're going to see these guys in the playoffs. And, I thought we'd see them in the Big Ten title game. I didn't think that we'd, screw up at the end. But, we're going to see them regardless. And I think we're going to have a big edge. And honestly, like, I'm honestly, and this will sound crazy and Kirk's wackadoo or whatever, but I'm glad we didn't see him in the Big Ten title game because I wouldn't have wanted him to beat him then and then see him a third time. I'd rather just go into this thing. We're getting better. We get the kind of the catapult versus Tennessee into this one. And I'll tell you what, man, we don't look like we're very fun to go against right now. And again, our defense to me is historically good. This is one of the best defenses in school history. And I just don't know what else they need to do. Obviously, the Oregon thing, it seems like it was an aberration. I mean, it was the best team we played all year, obviously number one in the country. But, I mean, the way that we held them out of the end zone on their last drive, and you forced Dan Lanning, who's the most aggressive coach in college football, to kick a field goal on his on his 1 yard line for a 19-yard field goal to take the lead. Like, that was historically good. And we've had this knack for getting stops. And I think that carries well into a playoff like this, where games are going to be tight. You're going to need to get one stop to advance or to do whatever. So I don't know, man. To bank on our best corner, giving up those long bombs and Davison. And again, I don't know if they were just too juiced up. I don't know what it was, but we haven't seen that since, and the guys have calmed down. And frankly, the one thing I know is our pass rush is on fire right now. So, there was a lot of talk about our pass rush leading into that game. I think that Ryan Day had a little cracking of the whip with Jim Knowles about mixing up the pass rush and changing some of the scheme. And we have, and all of a sudden, JT 2 sacks last game, Jack Sawyer a sack and a half. A lot of different stuff going on, a lot of different twists, a lot of different pressures in the middle, a lot of sim pressures. It's a different defense now. And I think it's tougher to go against. And again, you have to understand, this isn't because like Jim Knowles doesn't know how to coach defense. He's got the number one defense in the country, but like you have to make a decision. How aggressive do you want to be with moving the front? Because if you want to keep guys in the pocket like Dylan Gabriel who can run, cage rushing is the best option. Again, you watch Lamar Jackson today. If you lose your rush lanes, he's going to run for 100 yards and you lose by 50 points. Like just happened. So you got to pick what you're trying to hang your hat on, because it's like I always say, there is no perfect defense. You can't say, well, I'm going to call this thing because it covers everything and it keeps the quarterback in the pocket and it also generates pressure. So again, it's just one of those deals where you have to kind of pick what you want to major in. And again, our ends are as good as there are in the country. And I know people roll their eyes at that and they say, oh, well, they aren't good and they don't get sacks. I mean, Jack Sawyer kicks the absolute crap out of everybody he goes against. And I almost swore there, but it's Christmas and I'm really trying not to. And JT too and blowout. JT is leaner and he looks burstier than I've seen him look in even earlier in the season. I was watching his tape and he's really trying to get to that quarterback and up his draft stock. And again, he was first team all Big Ten, so it's not like people aren't noticing him. But those guys are werewolves versus the run, and they're really turning up the heat versus the pass. So I hope the Oregon tackles are enjoying their Christmas feast, because I think Jack and JT are going to feast on the tackles. Any other thoughts about it? We can dig into some super chats.
No, just I think these rematch games always are just so interesting. They don't happen that often, and we've been on the wrong side. Most notably, back in the 70s when we played UCLA, just beat them soundly in the first time around. Then we played them in the Rose Bowl and lost. I think for us older Ohio State fans, that one still stings all these years later. But yeah, the rematch games, huge edge to the team that lost the first time around, especially if it was close. And you don't get any closer than 1 point on a rule change that they changed 2 days later in the middle of the season, because the other team was gaming the system. That's how close we came to winning that game. And I just think emotionally and psychologically. But psychologically, we talked about the psychology of these games, and Urban Meyer, as great a tactician as Urban Meyer was, he was a better psychologist. He was a master psychologist. He knew how to motivate guys. And in a rematch game, the team that lost the first time around has got a huge edge, and so advantage Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, Urban was the best ever. I mean, I worked with him, and I was on the thing I love about Urban is like I was on the wrong side of an Urban Meyer demolishing, and then I got to actually learn why it went down like that and what he did, and I was like, oh, it all makes a lot of sense now. So again, I think Ryan and these seniors have a lot of drive, and I think that I've got a lot of faith in Jim Knowles' defense. Again, I just don't think that they're going to throw it over our heads twice, and we're not going to fumble it on the 20. And when the guy takes Quinshan had a broken hand, didn't cast it up, and guy takes the ball out of his hand. So like I don't think that's going to happen again. So I could be crazy, but they seem to get an awful lot of breaks in that game. That the OPI on JJ Smith, which is insane. I think that a lot of that is not going to make it. All right, super chats. Sloth Nations, thank you for the 5. Hello, I just got off a 10-hour shift. I'm not sure what you do, but I appreciate you, and I hope that you can enjoy some time with your family. Thanks for being on the scoop. What do you think will be the biggest difference from the first game to now? Defensive play, but in what way? Nevada, I'll let you go first.
Well, I just think you'll see more pressure. I think the first game we rushed for. The information that I got on the defensive philosophy, it's not so much that Ryan Day went to Jim Knowles, in my opinion, and asked Jim to. It was more that Ryan Day had asked Jim Knowles to play a more conservative brand of football and not give up so many big plays. So I think it was a meeting of the minds where they're like, look, we're going to have to play more aggressively. We're going to have to live with the potential of more explosive plays. But the trade-off is we're going to blitz more and create more tackles for losses, more impact plays. And I think they're going to have to do that against Dylan Gabriel, because as much as I'd like to believe that we're going to be able to get pressure with 4, and I hope if we can get pressure with 4 against Dylan Gabriel, then it's game over. Bet the ranch on Ohio State. I don't know if we're going to be able to. I hope we can, but if we don't, we're not going to do what we did the first game which is rush 3, rush 4, and just keep dropping 7 and just, letting Gabriel sit around or run around or do whatever he's going to do there. We'll bring the pressure on him. We'll make him move around. And that's been his one area where he's been susceptible to, making mistakes, as all good quarterbacks do, is when you pressure him. And I think that's what Ohio State will do. But like I said, fingers crossed that we can get the pressure with 4, but if we can't, we'll bring it. But I think to me, the biggest difference is just going to be pressure Dylan Gabriel. They're not going to allow him to just sit back there and do what he did the first time around. And that's how I see the game going.
Yeah, I think that the pass rush is going to be much different in this game. I also think that early in the game, Dylan Gabriel has to go down in the first 10 plays of the game. Like, he has to go down hard, and that means you got to bring the house and hit the casino blitz and get him on the ground. Like, I think you got to let him know what's going on today. And this isn't the game at Oregon. This isn't Outson, and he's untouched, and he's running around, scampering around. Like, I think that you got to get after him. Send Sonny. I mean, Sonny. When they blitz Sonny, man, it does not end well, especially if they put him on a back, and a back's 5'11" and Sonny's 6'4" and runs the guy over. Like Tennessee is on that, and I was like, man, that sucks for that running back, because when you have a guy who's got arms that are that long like Sonny, like, this running back has no chance. So I think you got to hit him early and hard, and get him on the ground early. But I think that the biggest thing that'll change is I've studied our pass rush scheme, how they move Jack around, and it was pretty basic versus Tennessee. So it wasn't, I think that they felt like they had a huge edge versus their tackles, just because their tackles were not great with the feet, not great edge guys. They weren't strong at holding the edge versus Jack and JT. And with the move that Jack loves to do, when he comes around that edge, like, if you're not strong, Jack's main move is a lot like Vernon Golson's main move. And it's like, if you're not strong, then you're going to look like a turnstile. You're going to look like a top. You're just going to spin there and give up a short corner, and he's going to get home. So I think the pass rush rates, but I also think that they're going to help Denzel, again, because they've got Tez, they've got some guys that are 4-3 guys that can run, and you got to respect that. So if that means keep Lathan back, then do that and put Caleb down on the box like they like to do. So, but again, I think that, gauging the pressure of that deep shot and taking that away and helping a little bit is worth doing. But I think the variance of the pass rush is going to be a huge difference from the first game, because, again, right after the game, it literally changed. Like, that next week, it looked like it was 2 different schemes. And again, that happens in football. Like, sometimes, it's just like, you look at our scheme, you look at our rushing scheme from Michigan to Tennessee on offense, or Chip Kelly. I mean, it's 2 different schemes. Now, I'm sure Ryan had something to do with it, but it was like I was watching, counter and gap scheme versus, zones. And, and again, some of it was they wanted to wham Mason Graham, and they wanted to do some draw stuff versus Mason Graham, and it just wasn't, I didn't think it was as effective as the gap. The gap stuff we run with, the counter stuff that we do is excellent, because a lot of the counter stuff and the gap stuff that we do, our play action passing game works really well with it. So when you can kind of meld those 2 things together, it's really hard to go against. But I appreciate you, Sloth. I hope you had a great day and a great rest of your Christmas. Sunday Buddy, thanks to the Deuce. Do we have any trick plays up our sleeve? All Nevada. I think that in a bowl game, you always have to be ready for a couple of trick plays, especially against a team like Oregon, that they love doing goofy stuff on the field goals. And, I'd be ready for a surprise onside kick and that kind of goofy stuff. But what are your thoughts, Nevada?
Yeah, I mean, look, Ohio State's got some stuff in store for them. They're certainly practicing, knowing that Oregon likes to do that stuff. I mean, Oregon did the onside kick the first time, so I wouldn't expect to see that again. But you got to be ready for the fake field goal. You got to be ready for the fake punt. I've seen several really creative fake punts here during the bowl season already, which I think have been kind of interesting. In Ohio State might have practiced a few of those as well. Whether they'll dial it up, we'll see. But yeah, this is the time of year when a big play, if you can steal a possession with a big play, on a special teams or some sort of trickeration, that can be the difference in winning and losing, because these games always come down to a handful of 3, 4, 5 plays. And the first time around, it was that onside kick that hit Caleb Downs on the up front. They got an extra possession. They ended up winning by 1 point. Not that any one play wins or loses a game, but that was a huge one. So, yeah, Ohio State's working on some stuff, and we'll see if they dial it up.
Well, I think that, when you look at that play and you also look at Quinshon's fumble. I mean, those are two. I mean, they're getting the ball on the plus side of the 50 on both of those. So I mean, those are cataclysmic type deals, and so for us to survive all of that and still only lose by 1 point, it's almost crazy, So again, I don't think they can count on those kinds of plays, and I'm sure that we'll be gassed up and ready to go. Sean Rollins, the king of Worcester. Merry Christmas, brother. I hope you're doing good. Thank you for being an awesome moderator on here, and also thank you for being just an awesome all-around compatriot on Buckeye Scoop. You, Sean Schrock, Devin, Akeem, the whole crew, Kim, obviously our 5 moderators that are on here. Kim has got, we got her folks up here with the kids, so she's obviously off for the night, but I just appreciate you, Sean. Thank you for all that you do. You guys are always hitting me up with great ideas, great text messages, so you guys are the best, especially my boy Steely, because Steely is always asking if we got a show, and yep, we're trying to get as many as we can, Steely, so I appreciate you, my dude. RV, thank you for the 10. Oregon's defense, pound for pound, is not as good as ours, but they're more scrappy to get turnovers. D-line likes to punch the ball up more than tackle, and the secondary is zone coverage to get INTs. I don't know if they're more scrappy. I mean, I don't think I'm trying to think of a defense that's better than our defense that we've had in any recent time. And and I mean this sincerely, and you guys can say that I've been, in the eggnog tonight or whatever, but like, I just don't think that there's a better defense in the country than us right now, especially with the edges that we're playing with. And, again, the Oregon game, we give them the ball, the onside recovery is rough. You put the defense out there in a terrible position where they're going to defend the 50. And then Quinshon, and again, I'm not blaming Quinshon. I love Quinshon, but he fumbles the ball on like our 25-yard line. So you got to put the defense out there for that. So again, I always get back to at the very end of the game, they got a goal line stand they've had more goal line stands than any defense in the history of Ohio State football, bar none. They might have more goal line stands than the history of any defense. I've never seen a defense that keeps guys out of the end zone like inside the 5-yard line like our guys do. It's insane. So again, that's always in the back of my mind that we might give up some yards, but man, it's really hard to punch it in versus our guys, because our guys play hard and they're sound and they're fast. And I mean, they a lot of pride. I mean, sometimes defense is just pride. Like, we are going to nut up right here, and you guys are not going to get this 1 yard that you need to get in. And that's what happened versus Oregon, and it happened versus Penn State. So, I mean, people can bet against our defense at their own peril, because, I mean, they are playing with a nasty, bad attitude. And it's led by, they play like their coach. Like Jim Knowles is a surly, grumpy guy. And, again, I joked that, he's not married, so being some guys that have been around the program for a long time, it's like, well, he's going to be really hard on these kids because he doesn't have a wife to go. He doesn't have a wife to show up and hand out cookies, and he doesn't have a wife to go home and say, oh, be nice to the kids. Like, he's just old, grumpy, doing his Tai Chi and drinking his mocha lattes every morning and drawing up some really good defense. And again, I like that. Like, I want my defensive coordinator to be a little backwards, like, I mean, like Mark D'Antonio, I was with him my freshman year, and he was always an assassin. He was always cold, always deadly. And I loved that. Again, when he came to visit me at my high school, I mean, it wasn't like, hey, how are you? Great to meet you. It was like, you've been working out? We're gonna be running a lot when you get here, so you make sure you're in shape. It wasn't all hugs and daps and bro hugs and stuff. It was, and again, I like that. I was like, this is my kind of guy, a guy like Dino. So, but yeah, I don't know, Nevada. Like, I mean, and again, I'm going to read this again to you again, because I can't think of a defense that's more scrappy than ours. And again, I think the world of our defense, and I've seen Oregon get shredded by Boise and by Penn State. It's like, and Michigan, and again, Michigan beat us, but like, again, it's hard for me to blame the defense when they gave up 16 points or whatever it was. Like, I mean, in modern college football, that's historically 13. 60 yards passing. It's 13 to 10. My bad. See, I always get it mixed up because I'm like, well, we needed 16 to win if we had hit our 2 field goals. But anyways, Nevada, and again, RV, I appreciate you. Thank you for the time, my friend. It says Oregon's defense pound for pound is not as good as ours, but they're really scrappy and they like get turnovers. The D-line likes to punch the ball out more than tackle, and the secondaries and zone coverage to get INTs. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's interesting because the Ohio State defense. I mean, the one area that they haven't been number one in is turnovers. They haven't created a ton of turnovers, but they've actually forced and recovered more fumbles than Oregon's defense has. They haven't intercepted. Oregon's got 12 interceptions. We have 9. So I think on the defensive backfield, I think that's certainly right. But we actually recovered more fumbles. So they've only created one more turnover than our defense has. But I get the point. I mean, they like to play. They're that kind of defense that isn't. They're not completely fundamentally sound. They do like to go for the ball and try to strip it as opposed to secure the tackle. And sometimes you live by that and you die by that. I think Oregon has been living a charmed life this whole year. They've been able to go undefeated. And I just don't I did not believe at the beginning of this year that anybody would be able to run the table and go 16-0 and win the national championship. I thought the team that won the national championship would have at least one loss. And I feel that way about Oregon. I think that eventually the numbers catch up. Eventually you don't get the OPI call. Eventually you don't recover the onside kick. Eventually you don't get the fumble on Quinshawn. So I think the clock strikes midnight on January 1st for Oregon, and they turn back into a pumpkin and go back to clean up stuff like Cinderella.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, they've been on borrowed time, and like I said, they should have lost to Boise. Go watch that Boise game and tell me how scared you are of Oregon. And again, I know that they weren't up for Boise the way they'd be up for us, and people probably didn't know how good Boise was because again, this was like the second week of the season, or maybe the first week of the season, and Austin Gentry ran for 2,000 yards, and he was shredding them. But again, Oregon, if they don't get a punt return and they don't get a kick return, which again, it's really hard to return a punt and a kick in modern college football especially. But that's what won Oregon the game. And they still I think they needed a last second field goal to beat Boise. So we're better than Boise. Obviously we went up there, we were short, but I ain't gonna be short this time. Donald Karen Rossbeck, thank you for the 10. I appreciate you. Merry Christmas from my family to yours, Kirk in Nevada. I hope you had a very blessed day with your families. Go Bucks, beat the Ducks, Nevada OH. Yeah, I appreciate you guys both. I know it's been a rough year with the hurricane, but I'm glad that you guys are doing great. And I appreciate you being an Ultra member, and Merry Christmas to you too. I had an amazing Christmas. Again, I've had an amazing year. Again, it's the best year of my life. Third kid showed up, and Buckeye Scoop's become a phenomenon. And it's been great to have meetups and meet you guys and get to know you guys better and better. And it's just kind of surreal because, a year ago we were just starting to do the podcast thing, and now it's like our lives kind of revolve around it, which is, it's funny, but it's not a bad thing. Like I can't wait to get on here. And, when I was talking to Nevada earlier, I was like, hey, should we do a show? And he's like, yeah, let's do one. I mean, there's a lot of people that are working, and there's a lot of people that, they're done with their Christmas stuff, or they might not have had any Christmas stuff. And it'd be nice to have a little show and talk to the folks and have the chat rolling along and kind of keep with it. Cause we're 6 days away from, 6 days from a monster from that Rose Bowl. So, you guys are going to be getting some great content from us nonstop. Nevada, your thoughts. Again, Donald and Karen Rossbeck, I appreciate you. They say Merry Christmas from their family to mine and yours, Nevada. And they hope that you had a very blessed day with your families. And they say, go Bucks, beat the Ducks. Any thoughts?
Yeah, just again, appreciate everybody that's here. Appreciate Donald and Karen. And like you said, our lives do. Let's cut right to the chase. Our lives do revolve around this podcast. Everything really we do, it does. I mean, every trip, every kids sporting event, everything is all about. Well, what about the podcast? How are we going to handle the podcast? What are we going to do with the podcast? So, if you guys wonder if we're thinking about you, we're thinking about you 24 hours a day to do it because we love doing the show. But as you can imagine, when you got to do a daily show and then you got to manage life, and Kirk's got the youngins. So
thank God for Kim.
Thank God for
Kim.
Kim.
Thank God for Kim. She is.
Thank God for Kim. Yeah, Kim's got mom of the year for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, that's just and again, it's been amazing. So again, it's something that we plan our vacations, and granted, I don't know what a vacation is at this point in my life, but Nevada plans his vacations around the podcast. And it's like, I mean, so sometimes when you guys have to deal with me after a happy hour, I apologize, but that's as close to a vacation as Kurt gets. But I love doing the show. I hate missing it. We probably miss a couple of months just to actually take the wives to dinner or actually do something. But again, it's I love doing it. So again, there's nothing in the world I'd rather be doing, and I love kicking it with you guys and having fun. And again, you guys make the show humongous and fun, and the questions are amazing, and the community is amazing. Again, when you guys help out, pay it forward, and then I get these an amazing letter from a Marine decorated. I get the coins. I mean, it's incredible, because again, we pay it forward, and again, a lot of times when you guys are paying it forward, you guys bring such incredible, intelligent questions that I'm like, thank the Lord you guys are part of the show, because you guys help us. I mean, there's times where you guys ask stuff where I'm like, I would have never thought of that. Right? I never thought. And again, we're driven by the Scoop family. So if the Scoop family's got good ideas, good questions, and hey, let's have at it. And we just appreciate that so much. Suddenly Belly, thanks for the deuce. My prediction is the top 4 seeds will lose this round in Nevada OH. So that's Oregon, Georgia. That would be us winning. That would be Notre Dame winning. And then obviously you've got the goofiness of Arizona State, Boise. So that seems like a pretty interesting bet. Obviously, I think that the one I'd be the most interested about was Georgia, Notre Dame. But, Georgia's got a backup quarterback. So that's the wild card. But, I could totally see it. I mean, Notre Dame looked good versus Indiana. And like I said, it'll just be interesting to see how it all shakes out. What are your thoughts on that, Nevada? Could all 4 of the top 4 seeds lose this round?
Yeah, they definitely could. And, again, don't get me started on the wonkiness of this college football
Oh
playoff,
man,
the way they did seedings, the way they did path. It shouldn't be like this. And that's the one thing I don't like about the play. I mean, I've been really resistant to the whole change about the potential diminishment of the regular season. And I think we've already seen a little bit of that. But, the payoff was going to be this great college football playoff. I don't think the first round, 4th round games were classics by any stretch of the imagination. And I think the paths to the championship are just completely random, make no sense, and have no bearing to how teams did during the regular season. So from that standpoint, I think the college football playoff is going to fail. The fact that the 2 best teams in the playoff, Ohio State and Oregon, are going to play in the quarterfinal, I think is a joke. But is what it is. Got to line them up and run them. And a little service announcement, though, while I'm thinking about this. If you're going to the game, tickets have already been loaded, and you got to download the Rose Bowl app. So if you got tickets to Ohio State, they're not going to be on your regular app. You got to go to the Rose Bowl app, download the Rose Bowl app, and it links your Ticketmaster account, and you should have your Rose Bowl tickets in your Rose Bowl app right now. So if you haven't done that, go to your Rose Bowl app, download the tickets, make sure you've got your seats, transfer them to whomever, get them for yourselves for your travel. But tickets are available if you bought them through Ohio State.
That's Nevada had to pay a penance from Ohio State's ticket office to get his sign back. So he had to do a promo read about the ticket office and how to download the Rose Bowl app. And
Kirk,
he had to
Kirk,
take
you're not
his
supposed to tell.
lashings to get his Rose Bowl.
I also have to say this.
Nevadabuck is now Nevada bot. He's an AI bot. I am here to give you the Rose Bowl.
The Ohio State ticket office is also the finest ticket office in all of college football, featuring 24-hour service and a unbelievable, robust customer service experience. Okay, now I've done my read. Give me my sign back.
A robust level of fees and a robust. They will charge you for oxygen if they can to come into the stadium.
Yes.
Do you want to watch the game and have oxygen? That's another $65, please. So buy our commemorative Yeti for $200.
Hey, did you know you weren't there, but our TV was working on playoff game. TV was working.
Well, that was a good dig. You weren't there. I mean, somebody had 4 tickets, and they said, "Ooh, I'm not going to give any to Kirk."
Oh, none. you were invited. You were invited. You was like, "I'm not going to go." Oh, okay. Now hold on. I'm not going to go. I can't go because we have to do a post-game show. And then after the thing, I rush home, and I go home, and I'm there, and I've got the thing. And
there's no post-game show.
There's no post-game show. So Kirk's like, "Oh, I'm not going to the game because I got." If you guys remember, Kirk's like, "Oh, I got to stay home and do the post-game show." No post-game show.
There was no post-game show. Your boy slept through
You
his
tapped
alarm,
out.
and
You tapped
I
out.
did. And no, I didn't even tap
You,
out because I wasn't even awake to tap out. I fell asleep, and it was actually amazing because I was like, we had a very very good day that day, work wise, and then all of a sudden I'm asleep through this halftime. I was like, nope, ooh boy, 3 a.m. Yeah, not good. Missed calls from Nevada, not good. But hey, we still made it, and then that Sunday show was rocking, so it was good because I didn't want to start the show without you. I couldn't bring myself to it.
oh yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah. You're
I
right.
know.
That was so bad.
It was, but somehow we survived. We're gonna have all the records fall this month, so you know, one little measly post game show. Which again, we did like 26,000 the next day, so that was a good
Yeah, we did
YouTube
good.
show.
Really good show.
All right, let's wrap this thing up, Grinch. What are your do you have anything to be thankful for other than the fact that we're podcasting on Christmas because we're
I'm
here
so
for it?
excited. Hey, dude, it's Christmas night, man. It might as well be another day. But Christmas ended
That's
for me a
that's
long
what
time
I
ago.
always say, man. After my kids
Yeah,
open the toys up and you eat dinner, it's like,
exactly.
what are we
Exactly.
gonna do? We're gonna watch LeBron play Steph Curry. Like nobody wants to watch that in
Who
regular
cares?
season
Yeah.
basketball game. You
Oh, you
know?
could watch that classic Baltimore Ravens Houston
Oh
Texans
my
game. Boy,
god.
that was riveting. So now I'm look. I'm just I'm so excited about the Rose Bowl. I'm calling it right now. Ohio State victory. We're gonna have it cooked up for those guys, and I can't wait. I'm excited to see it. I'm giving you fair warning. I'm going to be broadcasting from Helsinki, Finland during that time because
He's gonna be in a
I'm
sauna, live from the
I'm
sauna,
gonna be
live from the
I'm
hot
gonna be watching
springs.
every broadcast is gonna be in the middle, like 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever the heck it's gonna be. So Nevada Buck is there. I'm there for the Hockey World Championships, and so I'm not gonna be there, but I will still be. This is how dedicated we are. I will be still podcasting and broadcasting from internationally. So I mean, what can we say? Lots to be thankful for.
7 hour time difference. 7 hours. That's like that's
I
two
uh,
in the
2 o'clock
morning.
morning.
You'll be ringing in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
is he alive? I'll be calling you. I'll get that weird dial tone saying, "Hey, are you jumping on?" And then you'll be asleep, and I'll say, "You were the tired one. You're
I'm
at the
gonna be.
World
It's like you're gonna.
Juniors.
It's like
You're gonna
it's
be
like beep.
tired."
It's like beep beep. You're like,
No,
oh
I
man.
know. Then I pick
Yeah.
up and it's like $7 a minute, $7 a
Oh
second.
god.
Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
yeah.
it's gonna be so bad. So
I'm
bad.
sending that expense straight to David, and then you can decline
Merry,
it. Big
Merry,
boy.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
But in all seriousness, Little Nevada is representing Team USA in the World Juniors, so that's about as cool of things you could ever get to do. So yeah, but we'll still be rocking. At least I will be. So we'll see if Helsinki Buck is going to be ready to roll or not. But I'm very excited to see how this thing goes.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of
Oh yeah.
you're saying it's some hostile and you have no signal, man. This is going to be a
It's
rough
gonna be so bad.
podcast.
Yeah, this could be really, really bad. This could be the worst idea ever. I'll be broadcasting or something like Helsinki bowling alley or something like that. There at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I'm telling you, you'll be at one of the spots. Chris Pronger is literally there right now on his thing, and he's at like this hot and cold like thing with his family, and I'm like, it looks fun, but it looks far, and I think it's dark every hour of the day.
No,
So it's gonna
like
be like you're.
there's like sunlight 4 hours a day or something. It's gonna
Like
be dark the whole
the
time.
Truman
Yeah.
Show, except they always have it on nighttime. There's no actual like sun that ever comes out.
It's gonna be long. It's gonna be long, dark, and depressing. But go Bucks.
Lisa Shear, thanks for the deuce. Merry Christmas to you. I hope that you and your family had a great Christmas. Appreciate you so much for all that you do, for always being on here, my friend. Merry Christmas. All right. Anything? I'm sure to miss anybody. I got everybody. All right. We can wind this thing down. As always, I appreciate you guys. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys had a great Christmas with your families, whoever you spent it with. Even if you just spent it with us. I mean, this is as fun of a part of my Christmas I've had outside of my kids opening their toys. But I just appreciate you guys. Love you guys to death. I hope that you guys had a great year. And we're about to have a great week because we're heading into this Rose Bowl. And this is about to be awesome for Buckeye Scoop and the Scoop family. So if you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell. Again, I appreciate you guys so much for joining us on Christmas and celebrating a little bit of holiday cheer with Nevadabuck and I. If you guys want to do something awesome for us, the Christmas spirit, the gift that keeps on giving, download our podcast on your audio format. It's super easy to do. If you're sitting around the Christmas gatherings, you can tell all your family, hey, why don't you click on this and download it? The podcast app on your iPhone, search Buckeye Scoop, click subscribe. Completely free. It's a huge way to help us, and we appreciate you guys. You also do that on Spotify. Both are free, and it's the easiest way and the best way you can help us continue to grow our site and keep doing all the great stuff that we're doing. So appreciate you guys so very much. With that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation, and thank you, Scoop family. Merry Christmas. Talk to you guys tomorrow. It'll be about 7:10 p.m. Can't wait to talk to you guys. But again, I appreciate you guys so much, and I hope you had a great day. And again, one last time, Merry Christmas, Scoop family. You guys have a great night. Go Bucks.